Not all superheroes wears capes. Some wear wellies. Wellies.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you find yourself. You're very welcome to the James Conway experience. You'll have to excuse me for my dishevelled appearance. I am flat out like a lizard pissing at the moment, so it's great.
Oh, jeez.
We're here with one of our favourite guests and one of my favourite people.
Don't lie.
One of my favourite people in the west of Ireland. And her segment went absolutely tremendously, and then we just got busy planting and
look, we had to start meeting the people on the ground and setting up the community, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, we'll be able to show everyone what has been achieved down here on your farm. Yeah. And all thanks to you for opening up your farm to facilitate people learning how to grow, how to raise animals, and connecting as a community as well.
Well, PR, thanks for coming back to us again. And we're going to hit you with a couple months worth of news here. So we're very little of it is positive, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry, James, but we're reporting from the rotten core of the state of Éire, I'm afraid, and unfortunately, things aren't good. Things have gone downhill, really. But before we get into the ilks that's wrong, with everything in the country, there's something that we need to discuss, and it's very dear to every parent's concern. There was a little boy. His name was Harvey Morrison Charette. He was a 9-year-old little boy, and he suffered from scoliosis, and that little boy has passed away. Now, it's an absolute shame on us as a society here in Ireland that we could not afford the adequate care that child deserved. And we also have hundreds of other little boys and girls up and down the country that basically are in agony. I cannot stress the agony that these children are experiencing, and the parents of that wonderful child that has passed. And these parents are left with absolutely devastation. They did everything possible to try and get the care that child needed in this country. They even tried to meet with that little rat, Harris, and Harris never met with that family. And, there's petitions now, going throughout Ireland that Harris has to go. And I'm calling here today that Harris has to go. His position is unattainable anymore.
Well, that's the main reason I didn't go to the Tullamore show, is because he was going to be at it, and to be honest about it, I just thought if I got within 20 foot of that man, I'd probably be locked up, to be truthful about it. He made promises when he was the Minister of Health. He was going to put an end to this. He's walked away from it.
Yeah.
He's left one clusterfuck after another, and to be honest about it, I'm very, very disappointed at the Irish people that there's no
anger. There's no anger.
No.
It's absolutely disgusting. And the thing is, he's not the only child in this country. I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of children on waiting lists. Yeah. There's over 100,000 children on waiting lists in this country for some sort of procedure. It's absolutely disgraceful when you think of all the money that has been wastefully spent on a daily basis in this country. The first order of priority of any nation is to be the protectorate of the children. And that includes their welfare, it includes their health. And it's not been done to our children. And this has to end now. And the thing is, we have to, as a people, say enough is enough. Now, look at the parents are going through their own grief, and they will be, I'm sure, in time, be speaking out, when they're ready. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, we have a duty of care as people of Ireland to stand up for that little boy and to make sure that this never happens again in this country. And the sooner now people start realising that the state does not care about you, they hate you. And people need to get that into their heads. They don't care about you. They don't care about your children. They don't care about the elderly. And the sooner that we people demand it's our natural born right to be healthy, to thrive in our country, and we're not doing that. And it's Kildare Street and their cronies that are facilitating it, and it needs to stop.
And it's not an old or a new problem. Like, this has been going on. This scoliosis issue has been going on like for over 10 years or more. Like, the waiting lists are chronic. Do you know? Like, when was it that he said that? That was back in 2017 or something.
I believe so. But there's another aspect of this too is, we're not, if you believe what the government are saying, we're not stuck for money. And these surgeries can occur anywhere. And, it's really it's just for a government to say, no, this is one problem that we can solve by literally paying to solve it, which is you have America, you have Spain, you have Germany, you have so many countries all around the world that I am absolutely confident if there was enough demand there to say, let's stop this problem. Let's get all these kids the surgery. I don't even care if it's Russia. Whatever country can provide this surgery, like most of us is here as parents, I wouldn't care if I had to go to Kazakhstan as long as the child got the surgery they needed. So, as I says, this is something that it's just for a government to take it on board and say, no, this is one problem we can't have. We can't have children suffering excruciating pain.
But children dying.
Yes.
The end result. Now, Harvey did have his operation in November, but, November, when he should have had it when he actually needed it.
Well, the longer you leave it, the more
also remember as well, that little boy was on a waiting list and his name was removed at some point as well. Yeah. So that also pushed back the treatment, timeline for him as well. Do you know what I mean? And I cannot commend his parents enough for advocating so strongly for that child. And we have to step in now as a people and support that family and support the other families around the country. And Harris, you have to go.
Yeah, and we extend our deepest sympathies and condolences as well, and
to the Surratt family.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
Okay, Patricia. So
right. Okay, we're going to address the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room has been going on since 2021. I wonder what that is.
Is it the rates of all of my friends and acquaintances who keep dying in this parish, PR?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there we are. Oh, look, we can talk about it. Yeah, my mother attended 7 funerals one week.
Well, I can tell you are talking about 4 or 5 pretty much in every town, village up and down the country at some point. During the year,
and PR, I have to say it as well. Paramedics, doctors, a community health nurse I've spoken to, they all know.
Oh yeah,
they all know. So come on, guys, it's time we started talking about this. There's a lot of people dying well before their time.
Yeah,
through various causes. But
now we have 2 outstanding individuals that have been paying close attention to this, and I have to commend Patrick E. Walsh. You'll find Patrick on Substack. Patrick has been following the numbers, and it hasn't been easy because, as you know, RIP.ie, which was the normal place that one would place a bereavement notice on, and now you have to pay €100. It was bought, I think, it was bought by the Times.
Yeah, the Irish Times.
The Irish Times, and you have to pay €100 now to place that ad. That bereavement notice on it. Sorry, I don't mean ad. That's, slip of the tongue there. But you're talking about him trying to correlate figures and, having to do deep searches and deep dives. Now, Patrick basically has his latest figures are there's a 30% rise in the sudden and unexplained deaths across Ireland. And basically, we also have Louise Rosengrave, an outstanding journalist as well, and she documents within in the coroner's courts as well. And she spoke to a coroner recently as well. And basically, his answer when she posed a few questions to him, basically, was the people, had died as a result of heart issues that were unknown to the deceased. That was his answer. That basically it was heart issues that the person who unfortunately passed didn't know to have. That's inexcusable. That's an inexcusable answer. I mean,
how, you see, this is where I get a little bit annoyed about all of this. We all remember the wonderful line, follow the science.
Yes.
We remember that wonderful line. Now, they're not even willing to follow basic mathematics. 2 to 3% of an increase year on year of unexplained deaths, if you go back 10, 20 years, there would be serious questions. People would be like, well, what has happened? Have we an aging population? Was there a natural disaster?
Yeah.
Now you're talking 25 to 30% of a rise.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, lads, we've had this conversation, James. I'm pretty much repeating what I said the last time we had a podcast. This hasn't changed. And within the discourse here in this country, it's absolute dead silence. You cannot bring it up because you immediately are shut down. If you even mention the rise in people dying, you're immediately shut down. You're immediately told you're not a doctor, you're not a mortician, you've no idea, you don't know what you're talking about.
Is that because a lot of people have taken a substance and they believe that it would be more convenient if we just were quiet about it and pretend that it never happened?
There would be a little bit of that, but I also think as well that there's a spell put on the people as well, just the same way as when we were going through the tyranny, where you had people that literally would not let people into their houses unless they'd taken the jab. They look to the state for answers. So the state has said, "There's nothing here, folks." They don't know what they're talking about. They're not doctors. We know what we're talking about. Listen to us. And unfortunately, we need to have this discourse, and we need an honest discourse, because there's good men and women and children passing away needlessly in this country, and they deserve to have their voice heard.
It's also not only the passing away, but the debilitating illnesses.
Well,
my wife was down at the hospital the other day with one of her clients that she looks after.
Yeah.
And she met a man outside having a cigarette. His 24-year-old daughter, who had never, ever had health issues, is now having blackouts and fits, and multiple fits. So I'm not saying I know what it is, but I'm beginning to see a rapid increase in the amount of people who are experiencing epilepsy, blackouts, falls. It's not good. It's not good.
Now, following up from that last segment, there's a group in Ireland. They're called Wake Up Era. I'm sure many of our listeners.
Yes, they were having a coffee morning.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. On the 9th of August at 12:30 to 2. They had arranged at the Ashbourne Community Centre, which is in Ashbourne in Meath, obviously. They were organising a coffee morning, basically, where people that were vaccine injured, those that had family members that have passed on, they were just going to have a coffee morning where they could come, meet one another, talk, and be in a safe space, and be around people. And talk freely. you know, because a lot of people are experiencing horrific injuries and they have nobody to talk to, because once you mention it, don't be daft, that wasn't because of the COVID injection. Do you know what I mean? So they had organised a little meet, a coffee meet, and you know what happened?
Cancelled.
Cancelled. And isn't it amazing? We're talking about another event after this segment as well that was
Cancelled.
and the thing is, they do not want discourse happening. They do not want people coming together to basically talk and put everything together.
Well, you see, this is where I draw the line now, Patricia, because I've noticed anything to do with culture, tradition, music, etc., with, we'll say, a right-leaning audience is cancelled. However, if you want to all gather up and go goose-stepping down the town, they have no bother with that. That's fine. We can have a counter-protest, but that can go ahead.
Yeah.
What can't go ahead is a room full of middle-aged men and middle-aged women having a coffee and discussing how maybe they're feeling ill effects from something that happened.
Yes, yeah,
that's not allowed to happen.
Yeah.
So
No, but I have to commend Barry and all the rest of the team at Wake Up Era, because they've been doing Trojan work on the ground, and you know, as a group of people, you know, within our Truth Freedom movement, we need to support Wake Up Era, you know, more, and we need to be highlighting the work that they are doing. You know, they're out on the streets, they're meeting people and they're talking to people, and you know, they're offering them support, and they're connecting them with other people that are going through, you know, something similar. So it's very, very important to support Wake Up Era. They're also out, you know, doing information drops on most weekends up and down the country. So, you know, if you're off on a weekend, you know, connect with them and, you know, just go out and help them, because it's not an easy job to go out there week in, week out, and not many people out with you. Now, they do have, we'll say they have a core group of supporters that are out with them, backing them up and helping them out, but they need more, and they need a bigger voice, you know, in what's happening in the country. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the country, but the thing is, you know, there was a group of people that took that poison in good faith. Now, you know, myself and James would have different kind of viewpoints on that, but these people took it for good reasons, you know, and the thing is, they're seriously hurt and they're seriously damaged, and some of them have died. And, you know, we need as a group as well to be, you know, to remember that as well, and not to discard them, and to support them through to support them through the catastrophic injuries that, you know, they are dealing with on a daily basis, you know.
I said it before, I said it during it, and I'm going to say it again. It was a cult.
Yeah, I know, but
that's my humble opinion, and it's
like, but it's very important, you know, within our groupings that we do support that group, because sometimes they get pushed under the carpet when other issues kind of come to the fore, because they're doing Trojan work on the ground. And you know, you'll find Wake Up Era on Telegram. If you reach out to them there, they have leaflets. You can get some leaflets yourself and talk to people in your community, and they'll even come down and support you as well. So they're an absolutely fantastic group. I think they've had over 1 million drops of leaflets, maybe more. Sorry, Barry, if I've got the figures wrong, but like, this is Trojan work that these people have done.
And it's incredible as well. People underestimate getting something physically.
Yeah,
you know, it's a good thing, so it is.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, the people are well informed that's out there talking, you know, to the public. You know, they know their stuff, and they're able to reach them, you know, without inflammatory language. They're able to meet them, you know, in a very kind of, easy going pace. Do you know what I mean? And they have leaflets that they can say, look, you mightn't have the time now to talk to me, but look, take this leaflet home and, have a read of it. Our number, our email, whatever is on it, you can contact us, and, we can touch base at a later date, which I think is fantastic.
Yep.
So anyways, I suppose we have to talk about the biggest kind of event that Drumshambo get.
Yeah. Poor old
where do we start?
Poor old Drumshambo, and I do attempt to the last Saturday of the month be down for the horse fair and that, and
oh, I love the horse fair.
I never knew it was such a rampant centre for leftist thinking. I always thought it was fairly low key, but apparently not. I'll have to watch my back when I go down there.
Well, now I wouldn't advise where Get About t-shirts or anything like that.
Well,
that's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah.
You know
well, it's the Mishera Festival.
Yeah.
What's it called? Stephen's been in touch. He was down here on the farm. We were one of the proposed alternative venues.
Yes.
It's in a different place now, so this will have gone out after Mishera takes place. So we're hoping that it goes very, very well. Massive backlash. An awful lot of people have embarrassed themselves.
Yes, I am very, very disappointed. Very disappointed with some of the acts. I have to say, Maury Brennan, I'm deeply, deeply offended and deeply, deeply hurt by her signing that petition.
Who's she, Patricia?
Maury Brennan is part of Clannad, and Clannad were an Irish kind of mystical group who basically their music was the mythos of Ireland, the heritage of Ireland, and they through their music, you got the essence of what it meant to be Irish, the struggle, the heritage, the culture.
Yeah.
And her sister is Enya.
All right.
Now.
Well, I have to say, I looked through the list of musicians, PR, and fair play to Declan Nerney and Mick Flavin. He didn't sign it, and that's about all I listened to. So I didn't think George Strait was going to anyways. I didn't think he was concerned about it. So look at it's a myriad of artists, and Kneecap and Christy Moore have came off very bad from this. Because,
well, look, they're over. As far as I'm concerned, they're over, because the thing is, you have to look at it this way. They have issued harm onto their own people. They've issued harm by silencing their own people's voices, and there isn't any coming back from that. The fact is that they have said, no, you are not allowed listen to that music. No, you're not allowed listen to John Waters. No, you're not allowed listen to Thomas Sheridan and Stephen Kerr and all the rest of the wonderful musicians, speakers, and Shanachie and all the other artists that were appearing there. Do you know what I mean?
But can I ask you something, Patricia? Do they never think to themselves, right? Let's say there is a rightish movement. I don't particularly think there is. I think most people are classified as it. That if you have any doubts on mass immigration, if you have any doubts on medical coercion, you are labelled as right-wing.
Yeah.
I would say there's an extreme end, which is very, very small. It's very, very small.
Yeah.
But it is there. There's no doubt about it.
But that's
there's the central ground.
Yes.
And what these people had asked to do was, can we please talk and play some music? And people have gone, no. Well, what happens then is inevitably you drive people to the extremes. Because if you feel you're not allowed to talk and you're not allowed to play a bit of music or listen to a bit of poetry, what do? You begin talking to the guy who goes, they won't let you speak.
And how is it not slanderous for newspapers and stuff to start putting these words in? Like, go through any of his articles, he doesn't use nationalist, really.
No.
You know what I mean? Or right wing. I mean, like, it's fucking...
But it's okay to have Ukraine Day. It's okay to have African Day.
India Day is cancelled.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. And you know, the Department of Foreign Affairs gives funding of 120,000 to Africa Day and something similar to Ukraine Day. So, I mean, like all these different groups are allowed to have their special day, but Paddy, you're not allowed to have your day.
But there's another side to this too, though.
I know there is.
I would look at it as a victory because this has garnered international attention, national attention.
Yeah.
You have a full listing of artists who have completely outed themselves as completely against free speech. They're completely against free speech. And let's call a spade a spade. It was going to be a small gathering of people who were interested in traditional and perhaps mythological Ireland.
Yeah.
And instead of a small gathering, now tickets, it's sold out. They had to get extra space, extra tickets.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely. Do you know what? It was the biggest free advertising that Stephen could have wished for in a way. It's basically the karma has reversed. It is pushed back on them. What they wanted hasn't happened because they've actually made the event bigger, and that's what people need to understand. If you put out ill intentions to people that are innocent, that have done you no harm, that's coming back on you. And all of these artists, they're gone. They're finished. They're going to have, their album sales are going to be poor. Their ticket sales is going to be poor. Chris Moore is finished. Kneecap, adios. They're gone. Done, dusted. So we wish Stephen and Suzanne and all the crew there at Misha Era a fantastic festival, and both myself and James and Darren will be down there, supporting them, and it'll be a fantastic day. And I can tell you one thing, they are absolutely itching to find out where this is. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, but it's going ahead. It's going ahead.
They're putting out serious feelers, all right. But
now I suppose, James, we could move on now, maybe to affairs closer to home. The firemen.
Yay!
The firemen section.
It was going to get there at some stage.
I know, but there was some kind of very important issues there that we kind of needed to kind of touch base with. But I suppose the first issue would be there was a report done recently, and the UK has 50% in Europe consumption of ultra processed food, and Ireland is one step behind at 45.9%. So 45.9% of food consumed by the public in this country is ultra-processed food. James, could you maybe explain to the listener what ultra-processed food is?
Yeah,
just break it down.
Be something that's mechanically really, really driven down and then brought together with bonding agents and flavourings and long-lasting chemicals and stuff. Your chicken nugget would be a good example of it. Basically gather a rake of shit that if you seen as it was, you wouldn't
touch it,
and then make it into a form that you can eat. Like there's only a small thing as well. Like burgers, for instance. Do you know when we're getting burgers, we get the steak, and then your man will mince it, and then you make your burgers. Yeah. If you just go through the ingredients list on the side of the boxes or
in the supermarkets.
Yeah, not every burger is a burger. Yeah. You know, when you start looking at things like meat content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, this is where I'll say it for your local butcher. This is where your local butcher comes in.
Yeah.
Maybe diced beef, mince it in front of you, put it through the burger machine.
Yeah.
I know you're there for 10 or 15 minutes, but you know what you're eating.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And you've seen it made in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. And also as well, like you started the project there earlier this year as well, growing food.
Yeah.
And you know, you've planted the food here on this land, and you've wedded all through the last few months. You know what's in that soil.
I do, but I'll tell you, this organic farming is very hard. So it is, yeah. I'm telling you, God, about me and Darren were only talking about it, so we were. You'd nearly want to live in the fucking garden, so you would.
Well,
Yeah.
look at, I know the bloody weeds come up like literally.
My fuck, they do.
The one thing that grows in this country is weeds.
Yeah, well,
Lord
me
save
and
us.
Jaden was out today. There's we have one ridge of spuds taken out for them. They're right good spuds. I'll send
Excellent.
you home with a few there. So
Yeah. And the thing is, James, as well, like, the food is so much tastier as well, because a lot of times, you know, I look at, I've done it myself, you know, you're tired and just go and you just get something quick and you have it prepared and you're looking forward to this meal and it just tastes like cardboard.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no taste on it. So, you know, we would be advocating that people start to grow their food. And I dabbled in it now myself, and literally, like, I'm the type of person now that, you know, I'd kill everything except the weeds. But no, I was able to grow some onions, some herbs, and I grew some beetroot, and you know, I grew some cabbages and lettuce. You know, I started small because I wanted to try out myself. And you know what? I'm so proud of myself. They actually lived.
yeah.
So
nothing wrong with it.
the thing is as well, it was actually very cheap. I found by growing the little bit that I grew, it was actually much cheaper than going into the supermarket and, you know, going over getting your beetroot, you know, your fresh beetroot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, years ago, when the supermarkets really came on board here in this country, it was much cheaper to go into the supermarket and pick up a bag of carrots than going out and spending all summer, you know, minding them in the field. But now it has reversed. It's actually cheaper to be growing your own food, and it's much more nutritious, and it's not sprayed with any chemicals, and there's no plastic over it as well. So look at, lads, you know, I would advise everybody, you know, kind of look at, you know, what your family is eating. You know, you want your family eating the best food that you can afford.
Start to become adventurous too. Like, if you see, like, we went up to the top end of Donegal the other day, and I passed 3 or 4 fields filled with spuds or that. If you're living in that locality, head up to the farmer.
Yeah.
It's the same product. It's not going to be any different in the supermarket.
yeah.
Only you might pay a little less for it. So start meeting people, and you know.
Yeah.
We had it'd be last Sunday. Remember the pig we killed there at the back end, Darren? We had bacon and cabbage with early spuds, and we had rhubarb tart that was out of there, and the eggs from here was used to make the rhubarb tart after. It was a lovely feeling.
Yeah.
It was a very nice feeling, you know.
Oh,
nice dinner and dessert.
Yeah.
Your own stuff.
And the thing is as well, lads, there is a bit of mythology around, you know, growing your own food and eating your own food, you know, especially foods that our ancestors have eaten. You know, there is an innate ancestral memory from our ancestors, you know, because they ate the bacon, they ate the cabbage, they ate the spuds, you know, they had the raw milk, you know, the soda bread, that kind of thing. And if you're instilling that in your children, you're instilling culture, you know, and it's reviving the ancestral memory that, you know, we have forgotten about within ourselves. So I do think it's very important to try and eat, but, you know, whatever is in that season, you know, make a bit of an effort to say, right, okay, right, carrots are in, parsnips are in, and turnips are in, and the potatoes, you know, I'm going to try and, you know, make some dishes, you know, incorporating those ingredients. Then in springtime, you can look at, you know, whatever is in then. Do you know what I mean? Try and learn to eat between, you know, whatever is within season, because you're getting the highest quality of the food, the highest nutrient value out of the food in the season. So, like, you know, if you're looking at next year and you're eating tomatoes, and, you know, tomatoes are in August, you know, the quality of the food has gone down because it's been preserved to last on the shelf until you buy it, you know, so you've lost the quality of eating the food. So, kind of touching base on that kind of topic as well. Just something kind of caught my headline. I caught a headline today in the Irish Times. Jesus, there are some queer yokes. They're throwing the farmers under the bus again. They're blaming them. They're blaming them for the cost of food in the supermarket, not the retailers. Now, I mean, it's. Absolutely on every level, the farmers crucified. Every level.
Yeah, but you see, look at policies has consequences, and if you discourage people from growing food and having livestock and all of that, eventually you begin to have less food and less livestock, and then you pay more for it. It's that simple. This is the consequence of subsidies being introduced and then subsidies being taken away gradually. What people haven't realised is that for years, while those subsidies was being paid, their food was being subsidised.
Yeah.
And now, as your food is not being subsidised, you start to pay the full price for your food. So
yeah, but also as well, like you have to look at the retailers. The retailers aren't poor. Do you know what I mean?
No.
They're not in it for looking after Mary up in Durndale with her 5 kids. They don't give a monkey's about her. They're making a profit.
Oh, they're making a profit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Patricia, anyone has the ability to say no. And the truth of the matter is, if you leave yourself so dependent that you don't have the ability to say no, then you are going to be a victim.
Yeah.
And that's it. Do you know, I was in Aldi 3 weeks ago. I went round and I looked at a few items and I says, oh, Jesus, I wouldn't buy that. How many people can do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
They can't, do you know?
But the quality now in the supermarkets is
declining rapidly.
Yeah. And that's bringing us on to the next section now here is what's going on with all of this food recall? I mean, today now they're recalling goat's cheese. Yesterday it was sausages. We've had ready-made dinners recalled. We had herbs recalled. We had salads recalled. There's even a little up in Dublin that had to close because there was vermin and mouse droppings found in the premises. And they once they found that, like in fairness to Lidl, they immediately closed because they saw the significance of it.
I'll tell you.
It's shocking.
I'll tell you a remarkable thing that happened during COVID, and very few people talked about it. An awful lot of Irish people upskilled during COVID.
Yeah.
And an awful lot of Irish people moved on from processing jobs into higher paid jobs.
Right.
And you have a class of people now who are, doctors and engineers and all of this, who are finding it very troublesome to actually abide by any sort of standards.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And people don't want to say it, and they think that you're a racist for saying it.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I remember working in the meat processing units the last 5-6 years or that. There was always a paddy keeping an eye on things. Yeah. An awful lot of them paddies now have gone back on the buildings because the money is pretty good.
The building is good, yeah.
And this is where you end up. So
yeah. Now, also as well, in our last podcast that we had together, there was a big scandal that had broke across all social media circles, and that was the Bouvert
and it's got
supplement. Worse. Basically, what I'm looking at is Denmark has mandated their cattle to have the Bouvert, and a lot of the farmers are experiencing low milk yields. The cows in distress.
No calf.
Yeah. And yeah.
It won't last. As far as I'm concerned, this Bouvert is not a goer because the rate of infertility out of it is fucking colossal. Yeah. And if you have infertility in a dairy herd, you're not going to have milk.
Yeah, so. And just for the listeners as well, like I did check with Tier Lawn. Everybody be familiar with them. They produce Kilmeaden cheese. That would be a familiar brand. They have stated that they don't use farmers that are using the Bouvert. And there's where else they also Araborn as well. They supply foods to SuperValu and Centra. And there's no Bouvert in any of their products that we know of. Do you know what I mean? Now, I just will say as well, you know, a lot of us are connoisseurs of cheese. You know, just be careful if you're buying Danish yogurts, Danish cheeses as well, because Bouvert will be in that. So, you know, you might be looking at, you know, on a cheese, down the cheese section, you know, in the supermarket, and you see Danish cheese.
There's a good one. Denmark is a massive producer of pigs. Does this Bouvert end up in the watercourses? Because naturally,
of course it does, but it also affects the soil. It affects the biodiversity in the soil. So, you know, you have your cow pooping out in the field. So you have the little mice, you have the little birds, you have the little insects. They're all being affected by it. Obviously, the soil as well. Do you know what I mean? So
you'd be concerned about the baby food formula as well and that kind of stuff. You know, the solids.
Yeah. Well, look at the same time too. Baby food. You know, nothing beats Del Boob. You know. And that's
fresh is best, Patricia, as my dear old mother used to say.
And now moving on now. There, you know, we are keeping abreast of the Bouvert situation. I just thought I'd add that in there as a little
nice little segue. That now, well done.
Now, so moving swiftly on. I don't know if any of you lads heard the story, but there's an Asian hornet was found in the country.
Oh yeah. This could do real damage to the bee population.
That's what they're saying now, and you have them all flapping their wings in the Department of Agriculture, and now would you answer me this question? This Asian hornet was found in the country and they managed to capture it. Could you tell me how the hell they managed to get a singular Asian hornet in the array of insects that we have in the environment? How is that feasible or possible?
Well, I suppose.
Please tell me.
I suppose if you were looking for a bit of funding, you can always find something. You can. There's a lot of problems at the moment with importation, but I'd imagine this is kind of a storm in a teacup moment. You're looking for a bit of funding, come up with a problem, there's the solution. You know?
Well, I just thought I'd throw
the hedging is a big problem.
Yes.
Is it hawthorn?
Yeah.
They were importing hawthorn and they have colossal damage done. Yeah. They learn nothing from that ash dieback.
Look at You can't talk to these people because they're wearing the suits and they have the laptops and they have the knowledge, and you're just an agent, James.
Yes.
You haven't a clue.
You're dead right. I'll continue being an agent.
I have said it live on air.
Yeah, you're dead right. I'm continuing being an agent.
And you know what?
I'm quite comfortable with it.
And there's been no pushback. No, I didn't get an arm punch across the table or anything. Right, Anyways, just kind of going through the farming. I know it's very important, our farmers feed us in this land. So it's just kind of very important, I'm just going to kind of finish up in the segue. There's two other points here I just kind of want to bring to people's attention. The national herd, there has been a 3.8% drop in the last 12 months. So you're talking about 276,000 head of cattle, and it could double next year. Beef cattle is down now to 92,000.
That's it's a major thing. I'm not going to say I'm against dairying or anything, because dairy is needed too. But the makeup of the herd is changing significantly. There might well be a 3% reduction, but how much of that reduction was the suckler herd? Because prices have been fantastic.
They have been very, very
I'd imagine a lot of that is the suckler herd that's reducing.
Okay.
So,
all right.
It's very sad.
Yeah. And we have to always keep in mind food security.
Yes.
Food security should be, on the foremost of everyone's, mind, because if you don't have food security in your country, you're vulnerable. You know, your population is vulnerable, and you know we are a farming country. You know, our dairy and our beef, our suckler, and our pigs and our sheep industry is, you know, that's the business in town here. You know.
Well, it's what dragged us out of the last recession.
Well,
people forget that. You know.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people who left, surely to God, but there was a lot of men kept going with doing sheds for farmers and fencing, and there was a lot of lads, if you had 5 or 6 kids, you couldn't exactly be heading to Australia, and they managed to just keep tipping along off the farmer's back, you know, and people forgets that. So
Then just kind of the final, I think this will be the final, well, I'm going to talk about something briefly, but this will be kind of the final segment on the farming section is, I don't know if you're aware there, James, but during the week, farmers in the Tipperary, Offaly and Meath area received a big hefty envelope during the week, and it was from Uisce Éireann. And basically, they are organising the Shannon Water Pipeline, Eastern and Midlands region through those farmers' area. So basically, they received this document, and you're looking at Uisce Éireann, basically, you know, 500 farmers are affected by this. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to put a pipeline through those farmers area, through those farmers.
is this to go to Dublin, is it?
I would say so. Yeah. So just keep an eye on that. It'll be something I will be following up with later on in the year. The farmers just received the document this week. So
Is this a CPI? Is it compulsory purchase?
I would
CPI?
say so. Yeah. You would be looking at that if Uisce Éireann have decided that they're going through that route. That's their proposed route for the Shannon Water Pipeline, Eastern and Midlands region.
You see, as a pipe layer, Patricia, no state agency will touch me with a barge pole. That's the trouble. So it is. I had heard about that project 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, is the documents were dropped to the 500 farmers this week. So watch this space. Something to keep an eye on for the next segment. Anyways,
it has to happen.
Does it?
Yeah.
Why?
Dublin is ferociously bad for water.
Yeah,
ferociously bad.
Why should? Yeah, I'm not going to get into the.
No, but what I'm saying is, if Dublin is static population-wise, it had to happen. But if it's growing, they're actually behind. They're way behind on the.
I understand that, but have they not given up on like? Will they not be moving the people out of Dublin? Like,
no.
Will they not be?
Where's to move them to?
Well,
to the whole country. I went the other day.
Balladreen.
Balladreen, yeah. What are they calling it now? Balladreen. I've looked around there. What's it called? Daft, is it, or that?
Yeah.
The availability of housing.
Oh no, it's shocking.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Do you know that'd be worth doing a podcast on itself, because even rental properties, you can't get them.
You can't get them. Yeah, it's absolutely shocking. And I suppose just rounding up this new segment for this hour. Basically, I don't know if you're familiar with an individual called Dan O'Brien. He's the chief economist in the country.
Oh, good news! More good news.
Well, I have to acknowledge the man. Okay, I might.
Oh, he tried telling the
yes. Well, basically, Dan had he had a statement ready for the Dáil. He was supposed to stand in front of the Oireachtas and talk about the occupied territories bill that's coming in, and the significance that this will have in relationship to Ireland. And at last minute, they said, no, we don't want you.
Do you know what? I don't think any of them is fucking getting their head around is the Ukraine. The Ukraine will be an occupied territory, and the Ukraine is a significant amount of grain and a significant amount of the supplies for fertilizer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, has anyone...
Yeah.
Do you know, it's occupied territories, so I know they want to have a side swipe at Israel.
Yeah,
and that,
but
do they realise that?
the thing is, America has Ireland in their sight,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is what this man, and this man is the top guru when it comes to economics in the country.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter what your thinking is. This man talks sense. He doesn't talk bullshit. He's a realist.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that we think that they're all that. He doesn't get involved in the nitty-gritty on Palestine, on Israel, any of that. He's looking at the figures. He's been real. And he had a statement ready for the Oireachtas, and they said no way. And you cannot get his statement anywhere. I have tried several locations. It is gone. It is buried. Nowhere. Now, I shared the Ivan Yates. I don't know if you listened to it or not.
Not yet, no.
Not yet, yeah, but I would be advising. But this man was going to tell them gang up there, you have no idea what you've done. You've stirred the hornet's nest.
I have a sneaking suspicion, and I'll be going into it a bit more with John Waters on. He's doing one on Sunday.
Oh, lovely.
I have a sneaking suspicion that America could really rug pull us.
Well, you have to
just out of spite at this stage.
Well, that's what he was saying. That's what he was saying, because you have to remember. A few years ago, you had all the top Americans that had big fat wallets, and they didn't want to pay tax in America. So what did they do? No, they did not. They headed over to the Swiss bank and dumped all their money there. What did the American government do? Nailed them. That's what they're going to do here. And people need to realise that. And the government have their heads buried in the sand, and they refuse point blank to deal with it. And that's why he was not allowed to speak at the Oireachtas. Because there would be 2 or 3 people there, that might have a modicum of a little bit of sense and saying, well, Jesus, this man is talking, he's talking figures here, and we better start listening to him. But no, that was shut down. Any realism in this country is shut down.
Well, let me put this to you, because I think this is where a lot of people fall apart. They're pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel, whereas I'm neither pro either of them.
No,
to be honest, I couldn't care less what either of them does, but I think what's happening in Palestine is terrible.
Yeah.
They don't seem to ever factor in that Israel wields a significant amount of power across the American corporate business.
Oh, absolutely. They run America.
World.
They basically run America.
So Ireland came out as target number 1, going around with a target on top of its head. I'll tell you one thing, I think we'll pay for it.
Oh, we are going to pay for it, and we're going to pay dearly. Because once they have their eyes set on us, they're not taking their eyes off us. And our yobbos up there in Kildare Street are sinking us further and further into the abyss. They haven't a clue.
No.
They haven't an iota of what they're doing. And anyone, it doesn't matter if you're from the left, or you're from the middle, or you're from the right-leaning side. If you're talking realism and you're talking sense, you are shut down. They don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyone, and I'd recommend them, is have a read at Howard Lutnick's previous material, the Secretary of Commerce, or that.
Yeah.
He has Ireland down to a T. He knows exactly the fiddle. He knows exactly the fiddle.
Yeah.
And a Jewish man, and not taking kindly to our...
Oh, look at. We can go into the deep dive in history, as far as the Jewish element.
I think a lot of it is jealousy.
Is what?
Jealousy. I really do, yeah. I think, fuck me, they have wiggled their way into very significant positions over the years from a tiny, tiny little piece of fucking occupied land.
Yeah.
And to be honest about it, they've ran circles around the Irish government without it even realising.
Yeah.
See this reaction now, the whole Michelle thing, right?
Yeah.
There's kneecap. and a lot of these kind of ones who were kind of pro-Palestine.
Pro-Palestine, yeah.
And what's happened in the last week or two? They've been totally exposed as hypocritical.
Yeah.
That they talk out of both sides of their mouths.
Yeah, so that's basically this segment.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Patricia, and follow us to the Patreon. Your support means so much to us. Thank you to the Spotify listeners. Who have I forgotten, Darren?
Thanks to Patreon and Spotify. Absolutely.
And keep the lights on.
That's it. And just to note as well that we do have a Rumble account. Recently added, and everything can be found on BitChute as well. So
we're across all platforms, though. Please follow us to Patreon for the second half with Mrs. Patricia. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Good stuff.
Look like I done the Nazi salute there at